All right. I think I'm live. I need to double check. Hello, Freebird. Yeah, that was a good thumbnail. Man, you came up with some good ones today. I'm going to have to come up with an excuse to use them all. Yep, sounds good. Okay. I have lots of fun stuff to share. It's been a strange day. Good day, mostly. Yeah, actually I think I'm gonna share this chick first. Only because she said she would have a conversation with me and then never responded to my email. So I'm gonna share her with you guys. Her channel is called Rad Mom. And she was actually reading comments from a video that she posted, I guess the day before, about how misandry isn't feminism. Now, what I gather from this woman is she has 4 kids. She gave birth to 2 of them, which she claims are both sons. She's also, her channel's all about feminism and kind of taking the feminist narrative back and all that good stuff. So, and I did hear her say that something about mothers of sons need feminism the most. So, I don't know about that. I did go in there and type, though. Yeah, there's this kitty cat. I'm a bi-feminist due to my anti-capitalist political leanings. I'm anti-capitalist due to learning about the history of war and coups of the West. If I want to know how the world is run, I have to learn about it, not by assumption, but by actually going through the material like political theory. Political theory is full of feminists. But I'm going to play this because she sounded very open to a conversation.
How the world is run. I have to learn about it, not by assumption, but by actually going through the material like political theory. Yeah. Okay. So I just woke up to that feminism wasn't a joke a couple years ago, says CTKD.
Yeah.
And I don't really get it. Looking for moms to talk a bit about it. Would you be interested in a discussion? Heck yeah. That sounds right up my alley. I have like a whole library of nonfiction books in my basement. Nice. That you've actually read, though. We're about to get another ad, but they're not so bad today. I hit the conservative button again, so they're not so bad today. It was the Spoken Latin Society. We literally just played board games with chatting in Latin. You'd think we ran the world, but unfortunately not. That's okay. I'm pretty sure, like, Mensa, the group that my parents met at a meeting of, started life as a secret society in the UK. I'm pretty sure. Mensa is Latin for table, I believe. Because they were.
So she seems to be full of so much information. And she does use quite a bit of psychology terminology. I heard her say many, many things. But she didn't have very good things to say about certain groups on the internet of men. Bandit, good to see you. JR, I am glad you're here. Wait, what is that now? You changed your avatar? What happened to the Terminator? What is that? Speaking of, yeah, actually, shit, Bandit, I forgot to send you the link to the stream. Yeah, let me send you that right now. Because something else I want to share too. Man, there's quite a few things. Paste. There you go, Bandit. So looks better. What is it? I can't, because it's so small. Is it still a Terminator? Is it half cyborg? Is that a gun jar? Hello, Uncle Guns. Good to see you. Actually, look at this. Speaking of YouTube, Dennis. So Dennis Sperling is the one that has taken on Hammerhand and a whole bunch of other people's class action lawsuit against the ABC company. And he said, attention, after the hearing today against YouTube, I can confirm that they know they are taking the content creator and the subscribers' money and holding it, and they don't care that you all know. So I've heard many stories of YouTube stealing people's money. So clearly they know, because Dennis said they know, and they don't care that you guys know. So good to know. Speaking of strikes, you know what's funny? I'm always streaming on at least 3 channels at one time. And I have never once gotten a strike on a video that was unlisted or set to private. You know why? Because the crazy bitches can't touch that report button. So it's not an algorithm thing. It's a crazy bitch working in tandem. The ones that, are mentally ill and literally destroying society. And also the ones that work at YouTube. They're the same caliber of crazy bitch, by the way. Hello, Bandit.
What's going on?
Hey, thanks for coming. I know you're busy.
It's been fun.
Yeah? How's your day been?
Not too bad.
Yeah?
Not too bad today. A little busy, but not terrible.
Yeah, good.
How about you?
Pretty somewhat busy. I've seen some really good stuff today, though.
Are we going to talk about that video you wanted to talk about?
I do. I want to share one more thing, though.
Okay.
Because I also want your guys' kind of input on this.
It's your channel.
So I follow this male feminist.
Why? First off, why?
Well, okay, so on Instagram, the majority of the people I follow only to understand what their next move is. Like most of, I think, the people that I follow have to do with A&M University. So I kind of keep tabs on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But this is supposed to be a nonprofit organization, pro-feminist, LGBTQ, affirmative, anti-racist, enhancing men's lives. So the only person in my network that also follows this channel is It's Complicated channel, which I did reach out to him to see if he'd ever heard of this men's conference. The Peace Initiative, No More, No Mas, No More Domestic Violence, Love Shall Not Hurt. So it's in August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of this year. And it says the 49th annual Men and Masculinity Conference in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
So I'd never heard of it. It's literally only 3 hours away from me. And I was thinking about going just
Why
to
not?
see. Yeah.
I go.
Yeah, you want to go?
I said I
August.
would go.
But it's the 49th annual.
49th. Can't just be the 50th. It's got to be the 49th.
But male feminists talking about what masculinity is?
I don't know. I can only deal with my bullshit meter is only so high. I can't. Unless if you're supplying the alcohol, maybe. But I'm just saying, male feminists talking about masculinity is adorable.
Uncle Gun said 49th. Never heard of it.
Male feminist. That's hilarious.
Well, it's a 3-day conference.
Were they gonna teach me how to wear skinny jeans? I mean, come on.
I don't know.
And I'm more pissed off that they circumvented the beard. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they paired the beard with the skinny jeans.
Yeah. Freaking
Yeah.
lame sauce.
Yeah, JR said they have a group of male femtards trying to do that now. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to find a chaperone because I feel kind of weird about just going there to a men's masculinity conference. Maybe I'll contact them and see if they need any help, if they need any volunteers. I could probably get Cam to go, but that would be funny.
Do you think he would go?
I don't know. He would hate it. August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. That's like a weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be. Yeah, sadly, I'm gonna be probably at the beach.
Okay.
No offense, I'd love to go meet you, but
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
the beach sounds amazing, though.
Yeah. It's all right. I'll find somebody to chaperone me. That'd be a big ask for my son to take that off of work on his literally some of his busiest days.
You're gonna have so many like fake macho guys trying to hit on you. It's gonna be hilarious, and you're just gonna shoot them all down. It's gonna be hilarious. You know it too, right?
I don't know. I just want to see what it is. Oh, Bandit.
Yeah.
So, do you remember that Methodist church I was telling you about that's full of feminists?
Yeah.
That are hiding from accountability?
Okay. So just a feminist. Okay. I see what you're talking
about. They're hiding out at this church, and these feminists are like between, I don't know, 50s, 60s, and some are in their 70s.
Okay.
But,
so second, third wave feminists. Okay.
Yeah. So they used to be in a Methodist church that was one church. And then a couple years ago, these old ass feminists decided that they wanted to separate themselves from the they them people, the LGBTQ plus blah blah blahs.
Okay.
So that church split into two. So this is the
Is it
most
woke and woke light?
It's the most conservative group of goers or whatever, and they're trying to kind of revert back to the old ways or whatever. But I've been there a couple times for a couple different things, and I've talked to quite a few of these old ass feminists, and I've asked them like, why is it that like when did you guys stop supporting the LGBTQ shit? Like, and they're like, oh, well, it's just gone too far and this and that. And I don't know. I pretty much asked them why they're not taking responsibility for the monstrosities that they created, because they did. And they were just like, oh, Jesus will come and sort them out. They're literally waiting for Jesus to clean up their mess.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Well, the pastor's wife of that church texted me the other day. They're having a female conference, and it is come evaluate your spiritual health. Join this lady as she walks you through a spiritual reset. So it's a 2-day women's conference about spiritual health. And one of the speakers I noticed, because I looked all these crazy bitches up, because I'm like, who's going to be, walking people through spiritual health? And one of them is a licensed counselor.
That should be interesting.
So I'm super interested in seeing what this is all about.
I wouldn't have a lot of hope, but definitely check it out.
Well, apparently it's 2 churches full of women that are going to come together to attend this conference.
That should be interesting.
I know. I'm just curious how much feminist dogma is going to be in it. Like a spiritual reset, what does that even mean?
It's a nice way to say I effed up and I don't want to take responsibility for my F up. So I'm just going to say I'm religiously reinventing myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same feminist bullshit talking points, basically. Oh, I went too far. So instead of admitting that you made a mistake like a normal freaking person, you go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm reinventing myself. It's like it's the same thing as saying, oh, I'm a born again virgin.
Right.
That's exactly what they're saying religiously. I'm a born again Christian.
Mm.
Now, I'm okay if they're going to take it seriously, but I have zero faith they're going to take it seriously.
Well, I hope they do.
I do too, but
I don't know. The pastor's wife was like, you will be very interested in this. So I'm going to take her word for it. We've had many discussions about these crazy bitches that attend her church. So
all I'm going to say is I'd have reserved expectations. I would not be like, oh, they're going to turn a foot and they're going to be the next calling of Jesus. No, I have zero faith that they're going to be, turning their ways, because what the problem is, the churches went so far to women that they alienated all the men. And if they start preaching, what the Bible says again, you're going to lose all the women and then they're going to have nobody. So they kind of made their choice and now they're going to live with it. That's why all the men are leaving the church.
You know what, though? This specific church, it has like 2 sections. One is like the old school people, and it's like the fire and brimstone group. And then the other is like the younger folks with their families and stuff. And I've attended both sides.
I like the fire and brimstone.
Yeah. No, I really like that. But that's where all these fucking old ass feminists are. They're in that group. So I still don't quite understand what's going on there. But
sounds like they had a coming to Jesus moment.
Yeah. I want to get some more confessions out of them, though. I mean, because these are literally the feminists that really fucked up society. I mean, these were the same ones that were protesting in the 60s and 70s, like burning their bras.
All the bra burners. Oh, I gotta love those.
Yeah. Hello, Johnny Midnight. Hello, Tom. Oh, Tom, is that what that is? JR, is that true?
What?
Look at JR's new avatar. It kind of looks like a Gatling gun. Gatling laser.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Midnight.
Looks a little...
bring back the steak. Yes. That'll be fun. Okay, I'm trying to find the video that I saw on PBD's podcast.
It was a couple days ago, right?
Yeah, it was. By the way, this is good news too. Here, let's play this. Putin's anti-feminist
with
stance.
the Olympics? Oh, yeah, that's...
No.
It's a 400 HOA.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of costs will chase you around. So get smart about it, and you can.
Patriotism over feminism. Russia's next one. Have babies for Russia. Putin presses women to embrace patriotism over feminism. Russia's Vladimir Putin has urged women to prioritize childbirth over careers to grow Russia's population, stating many of our grandmothers and great-grandmothers had 7 or 8 children, and maybe even more. We should preserve and revive these wonderful traditions. Putin has linked this push to national security, especially in the context of the war in Ukraine, as he seeks to forge a militarized nationalist society rooted in Orthodox Christianity. By the way, this is a shot. This is not a positive article about him. WAPO's trying to go after him, right? Putin's policies are seen as rolling back women's rights, with Russians, feminists, and human rights advocates criticizing the emphasis on traditional family values. Let me just read that. WAPO, you wrote this. Let me read this sentence to you one more time, folks. Please, I just want you to hear how these guys spin this idea here. Listen. Putin's policies are seen as rolling back women's rights, with Russian feminists and human rights advocates criticizing the emphasis on traditional values. What?
Yep.
Emphasis on traditional family values. Health Minister Mikhail Murashko and Deputy Prime Minister Tatiana have promoted early childbirth, with Golivka asserting the earlier of the first child is born, the earlier the second and third will be. Despite efforts to promote large families, Russia's birth rate continues to decline, with 1.26 million children born in 2023, lowest since 1999. Tom, I got a lot of thoughts on this, but I want to go to you first. What's on your mind?
A cynical person could say, oh, well, he sent all the.
What do you think about that, Bandit?
I'm thinking he understands that, sadly, a lot of Russians and Ukrainians have died in the war. He needs to replace the birth rates. Let's be completely transparent there. But 2, he's been on a very long trend of trying to push Christian values and about having kids, and how the purpose of the family. The family is the quintessential voting bloc / societal, societal group. Like, if to him, instead of looking at the individual like the West, he views it as the family, as the lowest common denominator. So any way he can promote the family will make a better Russia.
Yeah, he's been pushing back on this feminist bullshit for years. That's why the Nancy Pelosi's and the Hillary Clintons have been like, oh, Russia. Like, oh, they're so bad. Because they wouldn't be in charge over there, period. Like, Putin
It's a
knows
combination
better than
of that, and it's also a combination of, you can't want big families and want to kill kids at the same time. It's just it doesn't quite fit the narrative here. You know what I mean? You can't say, oh, the world is burning, global warming and all that stuff's going to kill the planet, and yet promote families. So the whole narrative is the death cult. It's the let's kill the family, kill the population. It's dumb. It's so dumb. And the saying, the people who have the kids rule the world.
Yes.
So, I mean, he's doing everything he's supposed to do as a trying to bring, and that's the other thing. How do you fix culture? Family units, talking about family, talking about nationalism, talking about pride again, giving purpose. Especially when in a society where we're lacking significant purpose. I mean, this is how you do it. You give people a family, give people a reason to have kids, to live on, to not just be hedonistic, to sacrifice for something.
Oh, I hear your pup in the background.
Yeah, she's just going to do what she does.
By the way, speaking of hedonism, I have been using my Facebook the past week and posting some random shit just to test the waters and see how many friends I can lose or who would be triggered and start arguing with me. Nobody has so far publicly. I shared something yesterday that literally made one of my educators from hair school fucking call me while she had a client processing. Now, this was a 25-minute conversation with a woman that I really looked up to in hair school. She taught me a lot, but she's quite hedonistic.
Okay. Well, that's
And she kept saying white men this, people like you, I thought you were cool.
the shaming tactics.
No, it was funny. Well, long story short, her daughter is a few months younger than my son, and we joked when they were younger that we'd marry them off when they're older or whatever. Anyway, her daughter's a lesbian and she's really fucking happy about it. And I was like, oh no, what, oh man, I'm so sorry. She's like, what do you mean sorry? I was like, does that mean you're not gonna have any grandbabies? And she's like, fuck yeah, that's what it means. I'm gonna get a t-shirt, and I hate kids. And that, I was just like, oh my God. Now this woman lives in a fucking bar. She's going down to Vegas for a fat girl convention. Like, totally mental, totally crazy bitch infected. I was like, wow. And she kept puppeting all the things. Like she talked about abortion and men have no business doing this, and white men in the Catholic Church that. And I was just like, oh my God.
I mean,
25 minutes of her spurging in my ear over a Facebook post.
The one thing I can't put my rational mind behind it.
Bandit, she had to call me while she was at work, while she had a client processing, just to try to chew my ass. That is crazy. That is nuts.
The one thing I don't understand is, and I just don't understand why they're only doing this to white people for the majority. Like why is there such a hatred, such a purpose wave of destruction of the white race? That's what I feel. I mean, honestly, that's what I feel like what's going on, because they're trying to make sure that you shouldn't have kids and all this other bullshit.
Yeah, but look who's pushing this. It's your radical fucking lesbian feminists.
Yeah.
These white bitches are fat. They look like men. Men don't want them. That, like Johnny said earlier, something about they need to stop eating so much tuna and get back to sausage. Like, no, these are your university fucking radical lesbian sex cult members that push this shit and have been pushing it for fucking decades, in academia especially. Nice tower, Johnny.
Munch. Funny. Nice.
But yeah, that's, I mean, the thing I posted about what JD Vance said about these cat ladies that have 0 children or in charge of, it's those crazy bitches that hate white men.
They do.
I think it's from a resentment of maybe being rejected by white men. I don't know.
Yeah, but white men, for one thing, but it's literally they're trying to destroy white people. I mean, it's literally like a organized attack. And it's the people that I don't understand. It's like, why do you wish for the destruction of your own race? That part I just don't understand that.
Well, when you're led to believe that they're the most evil people that have ever graced this fucking planet.
They're not.
I know. But when you're led to believe that, you feel a sense of shame and guilt for, being who you are.
Yeah.
It's gross.
It is
super gross. Tom said, I don't support their message, but I do support that they go far out of their way to identify themselves. Candy corn hair, flower tents on the neck, etc. Yeah, they do.
I mean, the women are going to do what the women are going to do. The problem is men aren't doing anything about it. That's the problem. Or not enough of them, I should say.
Yeah. Well, what they were talking about before that is what I really had the question for you about.
Okay. I'll do my best to answer it.
Okay, because you're the most knowledgeable person I know about this financial shit. And you know what? I was listening to one of Brandon Trueblood's streams where they were talking about how much the gentleman appreciated your contribution to the financial streams that you and Kush used to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was cool.
That was cool. And I appreciate it. It's just, I had a lot going on at that time in my life. That's why I had to end it, because I had a lot of health issues that I was dealing with.
Yeah.
But things are better now. I mean, I probably could start it up again, but I had to
maybe Outlaws would be a good spot for that, actually.
All right.
If he's interested.
If he's interested.
All right, here's the financial stuff.
Brent Bjornson, a 39-year-old father, explains homeownership seems impossible, and that hurts for two kids of baby boomers. Matt Agan, a CNN reporter, notes this is just widening the gap between the haves and have-nots, emphasizing that 83% of Americans consider homeownership as essential milestone, yet many can't achieve it due to escalating cost. Jeremy Anderson, a 40-year-old father of twins representing a growing sentiment, says, we have given up on home ownership. I'm not going to pay $350,000. Shit, $350,000. You wish that was the case in South Florida.
Wait,
for a rundown house, the rising prices of starter homes, now at least.
Yeah.
One thing that I love PBD, but you're dealing with rich snobs, and this is what boggles the mind. They're like, oh, I wish that my house was $350,000. When they live in fucking Miami, which is like one of the most expensive areas in the country to live. So like, oh, $350,000 is. When you look at the average financial family, if you want to break it down to a family, the average right now is $56,400, something like that, $56,200, somewhere around there. It's sub $60,000 for a family, not a person, a family.
Yeah.
So when you say $350,000 with a 7% interest, you're looking at like $2,000 a month. They can't afford that. They can't.
Right.
So the fact that their dreams are getting stolen from them, problem that these people don't understand is if enough people are going to be not feel like they have no reason to live because they can't afford and they have no hope and no realistic way of getting a future that they feel that they can fight for and deserve, they're going to riot, they're going to destroy, they're going to do a lot of bad things, or they're going to self-delete.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're just like, oh, $350,000, it's like, shut the hell up. That's a lot of freaking money for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, so if you want to look back 2 years ago, I just watched a video on PPD today. He did a short on it. A guy looked at his Walmart shopping list that he forgot to do 2 years ago. His groceries are $102. That same groceries today is $415. So groceries have quadrupled in 2 years.
Yeah.
So in a sense, the American dream is going away for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not right. I feel bad for those people. It's usually, and as a society, we should feel bad because the more people that don't feel like they can succeed in life are going to basically want to burn the system down, and it's not going to be good for anybody.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I'm going to continue this.
Yep.
Okay.
Stop it when you have
$1
questions.
million in 237 cities. Exasperate this frustration. Tom, thoughts on the story?
Well, this is the affordability crisis, another story in living color about it. And what people are talking about is, hey, inflation is making it so expensive to live. How am I supposed to save a down payment? Now, veterans don't need a down payment, but the rest of us do, at least 10%. So inflation in PBD is making it hard for people just to save for that down payment. And then, okay,
Stop.
now you've got a down
Real quick,
payment,
stop.
but how?
Stop.
Do you say
Okay.
pause?
Yeah, I was trying to get you to pause. When he's saying that veterans don't have to put a down payment, that is true. But they still have to have the income to afford the house. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to get a loan. So,
Right.
and to be honest with you, anybody that serves in the military, yes, they 100% deserve not having a down payment for their house, for what they've done for this country. So I have no problems with that. The only problem I really face with this whole thing is, if you watch what Tom says, he's coming at it as a person that you can tell Tom wasn't rich when growing up, and
He's the biz doc.
yeah, the biz doc actually.
I love Tom. Yeah.
he wasn't a rich kid growing up, and he feels for the other ones are just rich people that don't give a shit. Especially
PBD wasn't rich growing up.
yeah, but he has that mindset like
He's an entrepreneur. He's made that man has made his money.
yeah, but what I'm getting at is he doesn't really feel. He's like Adam. He doesn't really feel. He doesn't understand the average.
No, I think PBD understands a lot more than you think.
He understands, but it doesn't seem like it comes off that way. And then Adam's on the other extreme, where he's just
Adam's
a piece of shit.
He was so Trump deranged a couple years ago. I could barely stand it, but like it was a few months back when he publicly, supported Trump, said he was going to vote for Trump. I was shocked. I was really shocked.
He doesn't. He's only doing that for the clicks. I'm still not surprised if under a, quote unquote, because he doesn't see it, no one sees his vote. I wouldn't be surprised though if he votes for Biden or Kamala Harris at this point.
I don't think he will. He's also the only one out of this crew that will publicly say a crazy bitch is a crazy bitch. So
yeah. Okay, continue. I'm sorry for cutting this off.
Yeah, no problem. Hello, Contriver. Good to see you. Yeah, the Sauce Cast. Well, when he switched to his podcast used to suck until he kind of entered the Manosphere topics. Then it started getting really good. And he started getting some good people on. But that was a necessary shift for sure.
Big is that monthly payment going to be based on the price of the house? And we had yesterday the news, day before yesterday, in previous podcast, the news that people were getting into contracts, like an offer is a contract. Well, but now can you get it done? And banks were causing those contracts to be canceled because they can't approve them for the loan with everything there. So this is basically underlining the affordability crisis, but also it underlines you can't wait on the economy. It may suck, but you got to drive with side hustles and do a lot of things to get yourself up. You can't just wait for it to come back to you. You got to be inspired and you got to drive against it. But this is what the average person is facing. This is the affordability crisis in living color.
Adam. Yeah, this is the conversation of our time. It's, we had a conversation a few days ago about, has the American dream changed? And I said, or is the American dream dead? And I said, no, the American dream is not dead. It's just completely changed. The American dream, formerly known as buying a house, having 2.2 kids, having the picket fence, having the 2-car garage.
Shut up, Adam.
Well, that's great for your parents, for your grandparents. But if you're trying to do that now, there's something that is working against you, and it's a 4-letter word, and it's called math. So if you want to get the 2 cars, if you want to get the picket fence, if you want to get the house, you want to do that, and how much does it cost to raise a kid? $250,000 from 0 to 18. The average price of a house is now record high. What's the average price of a house? About $450,000. That's average. Good luck if you're in LA. Good luck if you're in San Francisco. Good luck if you're in New York. Good luck if you're in Miami, any of these major cities. So the math doesn't add up. So my question to you guys is,
huh?
I'm sorry. I cannot stand that guy. He's such a
I know, but he's speaking
he-
truth right now.
No, he's coming. No, but you have to understand his sliminess and his resent for the average person is so telling. Like, it's so goddamn annoying. I cannot stand the guy because he's such an asshole. Like, he's the guy that you would just throw into a locker and say, you know what, give me your, like, I cannot stand him so much. He's so condescending because he's like, oh, I have money now, so I can do what I can do.
Yeah,
I just can't stand the guy.
I know.
And, sorry,
Thank you for putting up with this torture. Just a
Yeah.
few more minutes of a bandit.
How much money do you want to put towards your house? So you could buy a house, go for it, but you might end up being broke because of it. You know, I say the number one thing that's going to cause you to drive to the poorhouse is your car. But what will keep you in the poorhouse is buying a little too much house than you can afford. Now, the last thing I'll say is it all depends on who you are. So here's my recommendation, take it, leave it, what have you. If you're single and you don't have kids, and this is not something you're doing the next 2-3 years, what have you, there's zero reason to buy a house unless you're some expert realtor, professional real estate guy. If you have a family and you have kids, this is a difficult situation because you're probably going to need 3 bedrooms at least. You're going to need space for the kids, for the family,
Who
if your
needs 3
in-laws come in, what have you. So I totally understand that component. And the last thing I'll say about real estate, Rob, I think I sent you something. Pat brought this up the other day about, you know, the investment of it. The stock market doubles what you'll receive in terms of.
Is that what you sent him?
Yes, exactly.
That's so funny. I'm looking at the same
Okay,
thing.
perfect. Because we talked about this.
Yeah.
So, you know, people don't like the beauty of real estate is you can touch it, you can hold it, you can feel it. A lot of people don't understand the stock market.
Yeah.
There's people listening out there. They're like, dude, I don't know, bulls, bears, red, green,
This is
up,
what
down. I have
cannot
no
stand.
clue.
He
But I understand what a
literally
house
said
is.
right
And I
now.
understand what touching it and
You
feeling
can't
it a
afford
property
your
is.
bills. Invest in the stock market. Are you fucking insane? Are you fucking insane? You're telling people that have record debt and literally cannot afford their house, cannot afford anything. Oh, invest in the stock market. Fuck you, Adam. Seriously, this is what people in my industry that I cannot fucking stand because they have no empathy for people. They say, oh, just invest in the stock market, you'll do fine. You can't afford to because of the way the prices are. Yeah, and Fang, you're 100% right. The stock market took a giant beating this last week. It's just been getting slaughtered because of the affordability crisis. People are not spending money because they need to spend it on, I don't know, food and lodging. It's like stuff that fucking matter, not this stupid investing. Investing is like so low priority when it comes to, you know, like if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe housing, food, and car is a lot more important than investing. I mean, it's important. I'm not going to say it's not important, but what I am going to say is if you got to eat, you got to freaking eat. Like, and that's why I cannot stand him because he's just like, you should just, you know, the freaking boomer talk of you got to pull up your bootstraps. You just got to keep eating that dick. You just got to keep eating that dick. No, that's basically what he's saying in a nutshell. And it's just, I've heard it my whole entire life with people that just are rich kids that just don't understand like everything they were given to them and they can afford to do the stock market when not everybody can. Like, I don't see them talking about ways of saving money or building credit when your credit's destroyed. You never see any videos on that on their channel. All you hear from them is invest. Well, how do I get there? Oh, just invest. Hire me because I'm an insurance broker that sells term life insurance, which is a really shitty product when you can. If you want to follow Adam's advice, why should I get term life insurance when I shouldn't be investing in the stock market? Once again, that he speaks out of his ass.
Well, they're actually about to go into what I have the question about.
Sorry, I'm sorry for venting.
I know. It's okay.
driving me up
I
a wazoo.
I knew you would get triggered, and I just thought
Yeah.
this was the perfect opportunity to torture you with Adam.
Oh yeah, it's definitely torturing me. I mean,
I know. I know.
you have a very good way of torturing me. I'll tell you
I
that.
know. I know. I love it though. It's good for you, Bandit. It brings out the best in you.
Okay, masochist. Okay. Okay.
No, sadist. I'm a sadist, Bandit.
Oh, even worse.
Yes.
So if you look at this report, Rob, so 9.8% is the historical return. So basically 10%. Where's real estate? 4.2%. So it's literally a double bet, more than double to put yourself in the stock market. Now, again, it's lifestyle, it's emotional. I get it.
Let me show
Yeah,
this.
yes,
Rob,
sir.
on this same, that's the one you want to go to.
Yep.
That's the one you want to go to. So check this out. So if you go to 30s, go to real estate. 30s, the entire decade, you would have made minus 1.2% in real estate. Of course, we know why.
The big crash.
40s, you would have made 8.1%
Mhm.
annual rate of return. 50s, 3. 60s, 2. 70s, 8.7. 80s, 5.9. 90s, 2.7. 2000s, 4. 2010, 3.8. Look at that for 3 decades.
Mhm.
It was 4% or less. 2020, it's what? 10.2. What happened to the next decade after we had an 8+? Go to the 8+ decade.
Crash.
What do you see? 3, 2. Go to the other 8+ decade. What do you see? 5.9, 2.7, 4.38. So we may have just had the greatest decade ever in real estate. It's not going to follow up by another 10.2, folks. If that's what people are looking for, that's not what the follow-up is going to be. There's going to be a bit of a fall. And if you can look at all the other stuff, by the way, you can look at cash, you can look at stocks. On the stock side, you'll see minus 0.9, 8.5, 19.5, 7.7, 5.9, 17.3, 18, minus 1, 13.4, 11.9. 4 out of the last 5 decades have been in double digits. By the way, last night a guy sends me a Connect and he's asking me about financial advice. I said, first of all, let me start off by saying, even though I was a financial advisor for 20 years, I'm no longer a financial advisor. He says, you talked about, stock market, all this stuff. You talked about crypto, Bitcoin, gold. Where should I put my money if the cash is going to take a massive hit? I said, here's what I would suggest to you. How do you feel about AI? How revolutionary do you think AI is going to be in business? And who do you think AI will impact the most? If you actually think about it, who's AI going to impact the most?
Positive or negative?
Positively, who's it going to impact the most? Think
Business
about
owners and
okay, so specifically who though?
AKA them.
Fortune 500 companies,
big time.
Right.
business owners,
Yeah.
because they have the ability, those who adjust and put
Business
money
owners
into
love
AI,
it, but
they're
the
going to
average
blow up.
person's having
How much?
jobs.
Huh?
Yeah. See, you guys, you have to read between the lines what they're talking about. They're having a CEO talk. Oh, we're going to benefit. We're going to save so much on costs. AK, when they say save on costs, that means we're firing employees. It's going to be every middle management level job is going to disappear because of AI. You're not going to need them anymore. So you're going to have a lot of people displaced and don't really have the means to go into, being a mechanic or something like that. Like that is when you're going from a white collar job to a blue collar job, it's not like you can transition that in a year or so. You're going to have to pick up a lot of new skills that take, years to master. It's not going to be pretty. Like this transition period is going to be really rough. It's going to be the same thing with the Luddites. And look what happened to the Luddites. They got freaking wiped out. So I'm just saying, when you see these guys having this CEO level talk and saying we're going to make so much freaking money, it's going to cut on our costs, it's going to cut on all this stuff. Yeah, they're going to make they own stocks and shares. They're going to be making bank. The rest of us, we're going to be screwed.
Yeah, Freebird said, "Don't get me started on AI and the coming massive unemployment."
Yeah.
One of these days, Freebird's going to join us for a discussion. I think you two would have a really good discussion.
Yeah, we've talked before. Yeah,
Yeah.
Freebird and I had a really good finance talk. Yeah, I like Freebird. He's good. It's good people.
So this is the part coming up that I had the question on.
Okay.
How much are they going to blow up? What's happening to NVIDIA? What's happening to these? NVIDIA was a $10 billion company just a decade ago, 14 years ago. It's a $3.3 trillion company right now.
Crazy.
What does that look like? But this is the part. If somebody's watching right now and they believe AI is going to revolutionize the way we do business, you have one of three options. Either one, apply it in your day-to-day life. Either two, work for a company that is leveraging AI and participate in the upside. Or three, go out there and start a business that's AI. But for some of you guys that are watching and saying, what if I'm none of that stuff? Guess what? Invest in equities. I'm not giving you advice as a financial advisor. This varies to everybody else. Equities is going to go for the next 10, 20 years if you believe in AI.
Equities
So
means
okay, hold on a
stocks.
minute. Okay, because I was like, I'm so technologically fucking retarded. I don't want anything to do with it. What's equities?
Equities are stocks.
Gambling.
An equity is an ownership product. So it's you own a share of a company, you own a REIT or a real estate investment trust. You own part of a corporation. You're taking on corporate debt as ownership of the company. That is an equity. Okay. So basically saying is if you believe in
Just stock in a company that you believe
yes.
in. Okay.
If you believe AI is going to revolutionize the business world, you should start investing into companies because their stocks are going to go up. That's what he's saying in a nutshell.
Yeah. Okay. That makes more sense. Billy said, I have equity. Hello, Billy.
I mean, to answer Fang's question, he's not wrong. It's solid advice, but you can't be saying in one term, which part of the video that you didn't have listed, it says U.S. credit card debt is its worst it's ever been in the history of debt, and that Americans are suffering and they can't afford housing. You have all these conversations that Americans are poor in a nutshell, and then say, oh, and then at the same side of the mouth, 5 seconds later saying you should invest in the stock market. Like the level of cognitive dissonance is impressive. Like you literally are saying it is the worst financial market that the United States on average person has ever seen. Food prices have quadrupled, housing prices have doubled, insurance or real estate interest rates are 6 times what they used to be. Or no, actually, well, you're getting at 0%, but we'll just say 2%. So it's 3 times what it used to be. Oh, but the stock market's doing bangers, and you should invest in the stock market while you're starving. Like, do you know how insane that sounds? Like, you can't in one moment say stock market's doing. The average person is getting basically bent behind the chair and ass raped right now, and then at the same time saying, "Oh, it's okay. I'll go butter the. You should go and invest because you're doing so well for yourself." It's just, to me, it's like do better, and because when you it's one of those things. Know your freaking audience. The people that listen to you range from business owners to educated people. How do you not see this as being like insulting? Could you imagine you listen to a podcast and you're saying, "Oh man, I can see my food prices are 4 times as much." Oh, but pull up your bootstraps. You should invest 20% of your take home pay into stocks. You're just going to be like, "What the fuck?" And you're seriously be like, "Yeah, with what effing money?" You know what I mean? That's the only problem I face with these guys. They're a little bit getting at it. They're getting in the realm of being a little out of touch with the average person. Now, if they want to speak on the level of business owners, if they want to venture that realm, fine. But don't start saying that you're about the average man, because you're not at this point.
Hello, Pseudo. Pseudo said Trump said Taiwan should pay for defense and was stealing semiconductor tech. That's why the top sticks dropped.
You mean East
the
Taiwan?
Top stocks?
I like to call the big C West Taiwan, because that's what it really is. But yeah, I mean, I like what he's saying there. I mean, like he's saying, he's not saying anything that's wrong. It's just
Right.
you can't go from saying one moment it's the economy is taking a shit, and the next moment saying, oh, if you believe the economy is doing well, you should invest. It's like,
Well, I mean, we'll say in 4 months. Like this is just planning for when things start going back in the other direction. Man, what?
what's wrong?
I
What?
told you I'd been. Oh my God! Hold on, let me close this. I
What?
told you I'd been active on Facebook, right? Oh, Beth, did you not read the description? This is a crazy bitch free zone. You're not invited. So call me on the phone, you dumb bitch, if you have something to say to me. Otherwise, you can kindly fuck off. Anyway.
What other questions do you have with this video? So we could be done with it.
That's it. I just kind of was like, what the hell is equities?
So you have liabilities, which would be ownership of actual debt, which would be considered mortgages, bonds. You have equities, which are considered stocks, all the different types of stocks. You got real estate investment trusts. You have basically any kind of ownership into a company is an equity. So I hope that helps you explain the difference. So when they start saying liabilities, they're saying bonds. If they're saying equities, they mean stocks.
Okay. Sorry, Tom. Let me fix that. How come I can't see you? Oh, hold on. Let me change my... By the way, Outlaw, hello. Outlaw, you and Bandit should hook up for a stream. You know those financial streams you guys were talking about the other day? I think you'd be a good person to host those. If you're interested. For the guys. Yeah, friendly fire. Yeah, sorry, Tom.
Just dropping bombs over here. Just wiping people out.
I know, I didn't mean to.
Should we just call you Moab from now on? Just wiping people out?
Well, Beef Curtains Beth
Beef curtain? That's a little rough.
Curtain Beth likes to be disruptive and she likes to talk a lot of shit. And it literally says in the channel description this is a place for adults, not children. So the bitch has my phone number. She won't respond to my texts. So she can piss off. Oh, he said, Contriver said mutual funds.
Well, yeah, mutual funds is just another way of stocks. Mutual funds is basically buying an index, and an index is a group of stocks. So instead of buying, it's also known as a share of a share. So you're buying a product that's full of stocks. So instead of buying one share of 100. If you had to raise $1,000 to buy one share of Microsoft, you could earn 1% of Microsoft and take that $1,000 and invest in a percentage in all these other shares. So you own a little bit of a lot of things. So it's used to spread out. That's the purpose of a mutual fund, is to take people with lower income and diversify their portfolios so they can take a more broad approach, aka a shotgun approach at owning stocks. It's a good product for most people.
Why is your avatar? Oh, never mind. That's on my end. Pseudo said, as for AI, big tech is making slave systems for upper management, nothing for the individual or small businesses. I don't really know. This is beyond my realm.
I mean, my job, they're doing a lot of AI products, but it's mostly what they're trying to do is, like, instead of having to write like questions for how to do things, they're using AI to answer those questions. So it's more, they're using, at least my job right now is using it more as a resource tool. So instead of writing workflows, you write AI, and AI is writing the workflows for you. So if you have to answer a question on the phone, you can type the question out and it'll give you the answer and where to find it, instead of having to memorize what page or where to locate the documents. It's using AI learning to give you that information faster. In that sense, AI is great. But when it gets smart enough to do your job, then you got, which is the next step, of course.
Johnny said, so invest, say, $5,000 in mutual funds?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, we can have that financial talk if you want, but I don't want to derail the conversation if we don't want to go down that route.
Well, if you would like to, I'm up for it if you have the time. By the way,
I do.
hello, Rusty. Good to see you.
Now,
Your X4 was just here, by the way.
If just to give you, I have to say this, financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial attorney. I'm just going about how I would answer stuff, knowing what I know in the industry. Do not what I say is financial advice. Contact a lawyer, financial advisor that is certified to help you in your state, because every state is different. So you can talk about your personal situation. Everybody's situation is different. I'm speaking in broad terms, broad paintbrushes here, because I cannot and I will not go on the individual basis like, what should I invest in? No, I'm going to just tell you what stuff is so you can do your own research. That's all I'm trying to tell people out. The best website, hands down, for anybody that want to learn anything about financial stuff, Investopedia. That is basically the idiot's guide to finance. You just type something and you can read, and then you can go down the rabbit hole. Okay. They make it really, they make it simplistic to the point where you can understand it. Okay. So
this right here.
If you have any questions, yes, definitely go to Investopedia.
This. Investopedia?
Yep. Okay. Investopedia is a great one. And then the second one is FINRA, which is, I won't bore you with an acronym. It's FINRA.org. It's basically the financial ruling body, and they give a lot of research tools as well. That's for free. So this is all free advice. So you can do your own FINRA. Yep. So those are two great websites if you want to learn more stuff about finance. So that out of the way, does anybody have any questions? That at least I can help you on a broad brush. If you have, like, knowledge-based questions that I can at least point you in the right direction, and then you can do your own research.
Trevor said mutual funds is also subject to market risk, but
everything's market
less risk.
The thing is, risk and reward, aka rate of return, is polar opposites of each other. The more riskier you take something, the more rate of return. If something's not risky, you're not going to earn any money on it. And then there's things the way they eat at the value of money. That would be inflation. that would be cost of goods. So inflation, cost of goods are relatively the same. There's a slight difference, but you know, you go to the grocery store, things are getting more expensive. If you're not making, more money, you're not gonna be able to afford, and your standard of living is going to go down. So inflation is a cost of money. Okay. Most of the finance really comes down to people that can plan. If you can plan, you'll be successful. If you can't stick to a plan and not understand that your plan is not fixed, it's always changing. So just because your idea is good 3 months ago doesn't mean it's good now. You always have to do the feedback loop. You always have to go in and think about how to make your situation better, because new information comes out and your plan might be great a day ago, and the stock market takes a shit, and then you go, holy shit, now I'm not going to be doing that now. But it doesn't mean I can't hold the money until I can invest again. So want to choose between multi-cap and large cap funds. Both are giving the same rate of compounded interest of the same company in kind of what multi-cap and large cap. Well, if they're earning the same rate of return, then treat it like diversification. I would invest 50-50, because then you're just, for the same level of risk and rate of return, you're not spreading more risk off of more assets. So I would just invest in everything and just take a percentage. So if you say you only have $500, throw 250 in the multi-cap and 250 in the large cap, and then you're taking the same rate of return, but you're spreading your risk more. So it's a net win. Hope that makes sense. And then portfolio management. So, that's a
rabbit hole.
That's a rabbit hole if we want to go
Okay, get busy on that, and let me go potty and get some more tea. I'll be right back. Okay. I can still hear you though.
So portfolio management basically means there's active and passive. If you're active, that means you have a financial advisor that's trading your stocks. So you're going to have to be paying either a percentage of, or you're going to have to be paying monthly on your things, on your investments. So when people talk about portfolio management, there's two realms. There's the people that are actually managing the actual mutual fund. So that's a portfolio manager. Or you can be talking about the portfolio management as the people that you hire to manage your money to make the best rate of return as possible. Most of the time, if you're talking about the latter instead of the fund managers running it, which I'm going to try to stay away from that, because that's just going in the weeds for right now for the overall, layman discussion. When you're talking to a financial advisor, you want a teacher. You do not want a salesperson. You want to basically tell them, I have these plans, these dreams. I want to earn this rate of return. I need to raise this amount of money. How do I make that happen? And they're the one that's supposed to say, you could do this avenue, this avenue, this avenue. I recommend this. And then that's when you start asking questions. If there's anything you do not understand, you walk away. If it's too convoluted, too confusing, doesn't make sense to you, you get the feels that this guy's just trying to use you, you'll walk away. All right. You need to trust the financial advisor like you trust a doctor that's going to operate on you. You're not going to hire a med student right out of school. You're going to want someone that knows what they're doing and that has experience. Because your financial future is the same thing as you're going to a doctor to remove cancer. You don't want to just go in and pick the one that they recommend. You want to do your own research. Do you have any questions?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to look up this last one, Investopedia. Where's this?
That's a good one.
I was hearing some about investing in cat food and box wine.
Oh, so you're taking the what's his name? The military guy. What the hell? I'm such trying to blank on names right now. What's his name? I'm gonna have to look it up because it's gonna drive me freaking nuts.
How do you invest in cat food and box wine? I see cat food recalls.
Why is this doing this to me? Hold on. Do you still hear?
Economics of pet ownership. I hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Terrence Popp. Terrence Popp is the one that has the whole. He has a whole giant skit on, cats and box wine. It's hilarious. You should look it up. Yeah, that's.
But it's not actually an
There's
investment
probably
option.
there might actually be. Type in cat food and box wine, and then at the end of it put ETF, which is an electronic traded fund. But just put ETF at the end. You'd be surprised what kind of ETFs are out there. So.
Nope.
How about let's see what I can look up. Basic bitch ETF. You'd be surprised. Some of the names are
Really?
hilarious. Yeah, some of the names are hilarious. Oh, Becky Portfolio. Basic bitch index.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what you can find. The white girl index. Talk about. Yeah, so you'd be surprised what kind of I bet you there might be a single mom ETF. I wouldn't be surprised.
Can we make ETFs?
No, they need to be met. They need to be under a fund manager and have perspectives and some other things. It's not as easy as just. Where perspective is basically like a game plan of what the stock has in it, what the game plan is, what the rate of return is in the last 5 years. So it's basically the whole reason for investing and how much you can invest in. It's basically the rule book of the fund is the prospectus. So you need to have a prospectus, you need to have a fund manager, and you need to have people actually invest into it.
Oh, JR. Dildo sales. Is there a dildo ETF?
There might be. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just saying you'd be
I'm
surprised.
getting nothing. Cat lady.
Cat lady.
No.
But do you have any other financial questions I can help you answer?
No, I was just curious about the inequities. PBD was talking about AI. I'm not a big fan of the AI revolution.
No, it's gonna displace a lot of people, and overall, societal wise, it's gonna be good for society's sake. But the growing pains over a couple generations is gonna be rough. It's gonna be real freaking rough.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime, it's almost like you're going through you're basically entering from one era to it. We're going to go from the computer era to the AI era. So like the steam engine to the industrial revolution, like right before the steam engine took off, there was one way of life. And then after the steam engine happened, it displaced a lot of jobs. Just like when the cars were invented, like you didn't need a horse shitter picker upper. You know what I mean? You didn't need stables anymore. A carriage drivers all lost their jobs overnight.
Yeah.
So they all got displaced. Now imagine when you have 40 to 50% of the country getting displaced. It's not gonna end well. for a lot of people. And it's going to be rough for a lot of people. I'm kind of worried about it because that when you have that kind of change and that how fast that changes, most of the time you get civil war, you get civil unrest, really, really bad civil unrest.
Yeah, shit's still going on in the UK, huh? Still protesting?
What are they protesting? What happened?
Well, you don't know what's going on in the UK right now?
I mean, unless they're doing Brexit, I don't know.
Yeah.
What's going on? There's enough shit going on in the U.S. right now. So
Yeah.
what's going in over across the pond?
Actually, I saw the Jolly Heretic today. He can explain it way better. Like, he'll mind if I play this?
I was reading the other day that the level of trust in the media in ex-communist countries is extremely low. And the proposed reason for this is that they have been through communism and they therefore know what it is like, particularly towards the end of communism, to have absolutely no trust in the media and no trust in the police and no trust in any of the institutions of the state, because they're all lying, or they're almost all lying all the time. And you have to read between the lines to know what's going on. And also, of course, the law in such society is not enforced fairly. The law is enforced differently if you are a senior member of the party compared to if you are an ordinary person. So there is a great deal of corruption and therefore no trust in the system. We are increasingly seeing this in the UK. And I wonder if what is happening in the UK as I make this video, i.e. the protests and disorder that were set off as a consequence of a Rwandan immigrant boy killing 3 little girls, I wonder if this is a turning point in which that trust is gone. And before I look at that, I would ask you, could you possibly subscribe? If you like what I do, could you subscribe here on YouTube and also on my Substack, The Jolly Heretic, where if you like what I do, you can support me for the cost of a pint of beer a month. Okay, back to the video. Now, why do I say this? Well, it is perfectly clear that we now do not trust the police and we do not trust the media. And once that trust is gone, and I suspect that what is happening, these riots are a demonstration that it is gone, then it is extremely hard to ever get it back. If we look at the police, I suspect we used to trust the police, but in about the year 2000, Tony Blair politicized the police. There was the Stephen Lawrence inquiry into the murder of a black teenager, Stephen Lawrence, with the consequence that the racism was used basically to remove the old guard that had traditional values and bring in left-wing proto-woke people, and in particular women, to start running the police force. And naturally, such people are uber-conformist, and so they will and are obsessed with power and Machiavellian. So they take hold in a kind of Gramscian march to the institutions of the police force and turn it into something woke. And then, of course, we see very quickly the development of two-tier policing. If you want to go around on a Palestine march, stirring up hatred and using terrorist symbols, that's fine. If you want to go on a march to do with Britishness and have a Union Jack, then the police can arrest you. If you want to go out and do a protest about 3 little girls being murdered by an immigrant, you expect to be arrested, expect to be beaten up. But if you want to go out and just stop oil because you are, of course, pro-Labour and to disrupt everything and disrupt people's lives, that's absolutely acceptable. You just get a slap on the wrist. If you want to commit actual crime, then you get a short sentence, if any sentence at all, and the Labour Party are emptying the prisons. But if you engage in protest, which in some way is seen to threaten them, to threaten their power, to be an expression that other groups in the society have power and don't like what's happening and don't like the way things are run, then suddenly they're talking about 24-hour courts. Suddenly they're talking about you going to prison and heavy sentences and whatever. Hang on a minute, I thought there was no room in the prisons. But they like having actual criminals on the street, street, because that's a narco tyranny. It means that people are so frightened and so trying to defend themselves and so forth that they don't have time to politically organize. Let them run amok. But if you actually are doing something which is challenging the regime and showing up the regime to be hypocritical and so forth, well, then suddenly they find the money and they find the prison places and they find the resources to deal with you. If you are a Muslim and you break the nose of a female police officer, then this is apparently acceptable, and I believe no arrests have been made. The policeman that tries to defend you defend his colleague is pilloried in the press and made out to be Islamophobic and racist and whatever. And the lies get round the world before the truth can even brush its teeth. If you are a foreigner in Leeds, it's okay for you to riot, and all that happens is your child is returned to you. If you are a woman, an English woman, and you are stabbed to death while walking your dog by a Somali gang, well, that's barely reported. But if you are an English man and you say something mean in a tweet, then the police are straight round to arrest you. And if you are an English man and you march because you are unhappy about 3 little children being murdered, then of course the police are fully in riot gear to attack you. The police will kneel before Black Lives Matter protesters. The police will wear rainbow flags and actively promote a political homosexual ideology, wokeness essentially, but yet with regard to you, if you protest, you are far right. You are this all encapsulating, insulting term of abuse, this shut up word, far right, simply because you are protesting about an immigrant killing 3 little girls. This shows you that you are not sufficiently on board with mass immigration, ergo you are evil, ergo you are far right, and you can be smeared and attacked. And on and on and on we go. The media have made nothing. They've hardly reported the fact that in Manchester, massive prison sentences were handed out to 28 men who had raped this woman and trafficked her since she was a teenager. But this is hardly discussed. But yet, if anyone makes a mean tweet about Islam or whatever it happens to be, it's all over the newspapers. So we have a 2-tier policing system, clearly, in which the clients of the state, the group from which the state gains its moral authority by saying that they are virtuous, by saying that they are concerned with equality and harm avoidance, and therefore they're in favor of Muslims, or they're in favor of foreigners, or whatever it happens to be, and therefore they vote for them. That group is policed clearly more softly than an ordinary white person. And this is evidenced by the furious reaction to the Hampshire Police Commissioner, Donna Jones, who said correctly that the protesters are concerned about a 2-tier policing system. And you had all these MPs demanding that she be thrown out of the Conservative Party, or demanding that this be taken down. In the end, it was taken down. Why? Because it triggered them. Why? Because she was clearly telling the truth. And also there was concern that by telling the truth about the 2-tier policing, this would inflame rioters further. But the point is, it is the truth. So we have 2-tier policing, and there is no reason to trust the police, and we don't trust the police. They have lost their authority. And this happens towards the end. The second thing that happens towards the end is complete loss of faith in the media. I suspect that COVID is a big part of this. We know we were lied to like anything by the media during COVID. We know that people were thrown off social media and so forth for saying things which have since turned out to be correct. And there has been no redress, there has been no apology for the unbelievable repression and lies during that period. And I think that has made a lot of people lose trust in the media. But then look at the way the media are reporting this murder of 3 little girls. The killer, who has been named, has pictures of him when he was a young, sweet little choir boy, as if they're trying to make people think that he was nice and it's not his fault, rather than pictures of him as the horrible, degenerate, violent man that he no doubt is now.
No, I was just saying, they're using frame. The problem is, he is 100% right. COVID broke the media, because the media's lies were so bad that anybody with sub 100 IQ realize how much bullshit's going on right now, and because of that, they lost all their credibility. And if no one's going to be trusting the media, that also means that the government, no one trusts the government. And when you have this level of corruption, this level of mistrust, most times in history when that happens, you end up getting some form of massive civil unrest that could potentially lead to civil war or breakaways or strifes or wars, because when politicians are cornered and they're losing their audience, they need a way to bond the community together. And the only way to bond something is normally over something that's tragic. It's not right. I'm not saying I want this to happen, but this is what we have. This is what the politicians want.
Okay, I was trying to find this because Richard and Professor Dutton had a chat earlier with this Charlie guy, and he kept bringing up this media person, DJE Media. I guess they're covering what's going on right now.
Okay.
So this was 3 hours ago. Plymouth?
Phone. Yeah, YouTube, yeah. YouTube, that one, yeah. I was on the GoPro, but it's not too good in the dark, the GoPro. I had 20k watching. Same policeman, come down from Bristol. Go up here, turn right, I think, back to the town centre, city centre.
Doesn't look very lively.
No.
But this was earlier.
They're fucking gossiping.
Just lowered it down to 720 my end. Let's see if it makes.
Can't stand that skipping around.
Yeah, it makes things a little challenging.
Yeah, it's just annoying noises. Yeah, this looks so much different than the crazy bitch protests that I've seen, like with BLM. You know, I don't see any fucking pink and purple hair. I don't see.
The reason being is because this is organic. This is a true protest over some fabricated bullshit. This is what happens when people actually are pissed and not some fabricated media bullshit. So you're actually watching true people that are fed up with the system and that want to, in a sense, burn it all to the ground.
Yeah, it's a lot of men.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. If you notice, a lot of these, when men get involved,
There's
that's
a
when.
chick. There's a chick.
I know, but I'm just saying. A lot of times when the men get involved, that's when normally when shit gets real.
Well, I guess it's happening all over the UK. Because I guess this kid was under the age.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that stabbed these kids. So he was an immigrant, and I guess he killed 3 young girls, stabbed them to death.
That's awful. That's
Yeah.
so awful.
That will be here soon. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, so he just turned 18? I don't know. Billy, do you have more info on this? Isn't it a cute thumbnail? I love this thumbnail. It's my thumbnail of Bandit teach me some stuff about finance.
It is a funny one.
It is. No, Freebird made some good ones. Have a couple backups. Oh, by the way, did Beth text me or call me? Nope, she didn't. And I thought she wanted to actually resolve some shit. British feminazis are attacking me on X, Ma. They're whining and crying in their cups because I said mean words. Well, they can do that. It's the platform for whining and crying in their cups. Holy shit. Billy, if you would like to join, I sent you a link if you want to talk about this. What are all these things on the ground, though? Like, are those just to be barriers?
It looks like some kind of feminist barrier since it's purple.
Yeah, why is it purple?
I don't know.
Huh. Really? Has it? I wonder, how's Shane, by the way? I wonder if they have spread to Ireland. We should ask Shane. He probably knows more than Billy about what's going on in his country. Shane is, Well?
Yep, I'm here. Sorry, my phone was doing its thing, being dumb.
What have you been paying attention to here? What had the most of your attention?
It's sad that the only way people can actually feel like their voices are heard is by basically destroying the country, and destroying a building. It's sad that we're at that kind of place in America, or even in Europe or whatever. It just seems really sad to me that we have.
Hey there, GM. Hey, Bandit. Hey, chat.
What's going on?
London's burning down. England is burning down. England's burning down. So what do you want to know about the rioting upheaval? How it started? What's going on? What?
Yeah.
So a kid killed 3 girls, as you already mentioned, and also injured a bunch of other kids as well. So there's like, I don't know, it was on a stabbing spree. And there have been other. So I didn't realize that was the triggering or the catalyst that set it all into motion. I thought it was already rioting taking place, and that happened like later on. So I got my chronological order a little bit mixed up. But there are other stabbings and murders and manhunts as well, but they haven't got much publicity. So a general civil unrest. I want to be trying to be a bit careful because I don't want to get your channel like struck down or something.
You just can't medical medical misinformation can't
All
be
right,
the
so
topic. Everything
every-
else is fair game.
everyone's pretty aware there's like immigration problems across the world. So
Yes.
England has been getting, a hefty amount of migrants coming in.
Mhm.
And they've been getting preferential treatment. They've been put up in hotels. They've been given military bases to stay in. They're given benefits. They're given privileges, basically, at the cost to the nationals. So this has caused things like delays in getting doctor's appointments, getting services to your home or your neighborhood, because there's just so many people to cater for now. And these migrants are forming their, like, what would you call them? Like
Gangs?
mini zones, like they group together because they're all they
No-go
know one
zones?
another.
You guys having no-go zones?
Where we are getting that, yeah. There are
Oh, that's
places
not
that are being kind of coined as, it's not officially called a no-go zone, but like word of mouth is going around, like, don't go to that area because it's populated by a cluster, a group of migrants. But you had that anyway in the past because you have people from all sorts of countries, so they kind of congregate together in like cliques and groups. Like Turkish people would gather together. We used to have Somalia corner. That was like the local slang term for an area down the road. And then you'd have the Marrakesh cafe gang kind of thing. But it's gotten a bit more broader. Well, there's just simply more people now. So like a town's population is kind of a group of people. So anyway, so things were getting more and more out of balance. And it was speculated that the reason why we're so welcoming to migrants, not only because of like virtue signaling, but because and not because of just like population decrease as well, but it seems to be more for voting to keep the Labour government in power. So they appeal to the migrants like the Labour, so they won. So Labour won in the votes, and most of those votes came from the migrants and their families and their extensions, because the Nationals on the whole were wanting a party called Reform UK to get into power, but they couldn't. They only got like 5 seats in the Houses of Parliament or something, so nothing significant to make a difference. So it appears that the migrants are to secure the political party in power. And as a kind of bonus, if you can think of it like that, they can provide cheap labor, they can provide extra funding, you can allocate funds to help these people and take it out of like the taxpayer pocket. So taxes go up to help these people out. Inflation goes up because it's to help support these people, and they're a protective class of population. So you get kind of like social credit, kudos for it. So they come over. You get the Palestinians versus Israel conflict going on. Everyone's like, they're campaigning to save Palestine. And that's like the social justice groups are in support of that, and they don't realize what they're backing. So this brings in more and more Islamists into the country. they start doing things like disrupting town hall meetings. They managed to get the flag taken down on St. Paul's Cathedral and raise their own flag. That was like never in history has that happened. They're breaking the law. They're projecting images onto the Big Ben clock tower, which is against the law. You're not meant to be doing stuff like that. And that's when they started to become apparent there was a two-tier policing going on, where the police are kowtowing to these Muslims and Islamists, and citizens that were getting upset were treated more severely. So then the Islamists gets more brazen and start just what's another word for like touting, rubbing it in the faces of the police, mocking the police, calling them slaves and dogs, and you work for us now. And they start closing city roads because they're now running the protests and just doing it. So these aren't organized protests. Some are, but some aren't. Like the one recently in central London caught the police off guard. They weren't expecting it. So they're grinding cities to a halt. Some videos were released about how to gain power. The idea is to get yourself embedded into institutions and sort of work it from within. So
they're basically giant Democrats, is what you're trying to tell me. The Labour is basically giant Democrats.
Yeah, as a comparison, yeah. So Labour is kind of like Democrats, yeah. Socialism, and our version of Conservatives is what we would call Tories. But the thing is, the Tories over the years, they call themselves Tories, they call themselves Conservatives, but they're not really. The way they act isn't very conservative at all. And this is within the first month. We're already just finished the first month of the new prime minister. So people are kind of flabbergasted. Like,
so your prime minister is basically Biden.
Yeah, worse than Biden. But yeah, in terms of as a comparison, you can think of it like that if you want. Yeah. I mean, we thought the previous prime minister was bad. But this one has only been in power for a month, and this is what he's done. So this is how bonkers or how insulting it gets for the English people, and this is why they're so, not why, but one of the reasons why you can understand why they're so pissed off is that these Muslim Islamists or whatever, they'll stand outside their mosques waving machetes on one side of the street, and the police will be on the other side of the street, and they won't do anything. Like, some people say they're not even present. There are no police. But if they are there, they're not doing it. Like, if you walk around with a knife, you're going to jail. End of discussion. But these people are waving around machetes, chasing white people out of towns and up the roads, you know, in fear of their life. And the police aren't doing anything to stop them.
That's
like no riot gear. No, I mean, I don't know why this is the case. Like, if they want to say they're scared or something, because
no,
it's like
they're trying to cause civil unrest because that's how they get their votes.
Well, it's that kind of contradiction thing that you touched on before I came on, where it's like in that video where the police are happy to smash your car window in and arrest you. They suddenly have the means and the power and the facilities to hold you. But when it comes to actually something that matters, oh no, now we're underfunded. Now they're powerless, or, you know, they have to speak politely and not offend people.
It's not about offending people. They want to say that so they can take as much money as they possibly can. It's basically attacking the issue from the top down and bottom. They're trying to make you financially despot, which is creating more civil unrest, which is their goal.
Well, it gets it gets silly because officers have been injured in these riots. I don't know what the number is, but a significant amount. You know, police vehicles have been burned and turned upside down, and things have been smashed. So, but yet the police still want to be on the side of protecting the, well, they're supposed to be minorities, but they appear to be the majority now. So they're on the side of the Islamists under the orders of the government. And so the British people are kind of pissed off equally, I suppose, with the police just as much as they are with the immigration, because you would have thought that your own police body would protect its people. But now the people feel like the police are actually the enemy.
Well, police have always been the enemy. It's just people are finally realizing it. Police never been.
That's the thing. So now people who are nationals are being called far right. They're getting their houses raided. There was a guy fighting during the political campaign. There was a guy, there is a guy named Tommy Robinson, and he's very vocal. He kind of called it out as it is. He's had to flee the country, and now social media, apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, is doxing his family to the Islamists.
Oh, I'm not surprised. That seems something that they would do.
So when the people started getting their voices put out more, they're asking the Prime Minister, like, what the hell are you going to do about this? Especially because of the 3 girls that were killed. You know, people are like, those are our children, British children that have been killed. Mm-hmm. The Prime Minister turns around, calls them all far right, blames it all on them, says there's going to be more police, there's going to be more arrests, so not more police, there's going to be, I think, a standby army or something like that, some sort of special division. So he's expecting things to get worse. The more conspiracy theorists... Sorry?
They're militarizing, they're using this as a militarization of the police so they can control people and blame it on civil unrest. That sounds like to me.
And so to go after the British nationals and protect the machete wielding Muslims, apparently, like, the more conspiracy type minded people, which I don't blame them for thinking this, is probably true. They're saying that the Prime Minister is going to push forward face recognition and sort of like curfews and other kind of controlling measures.
Well, you guys don't have the Constitution like we do that protects us from those rights. To be honest with you, if I lived in England, I would assume that, because you don't have the rights of the civil liberties like you have in the United States.
There's no. I mean, we're like we're like, I don't know, CCTV #1 or whatever. Yeah, there's so many cameras.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys don't. There is no right to privacy in England.
There are a few kind of stipulations, like if you're on private property, you're not supposed to be filming. But then people just stand on public property and just use a zoom lens.
Yep.
And things like flying drones, you're meant to have a pilot's license or something like this, or a drone's license. So I don't know the ins and outs of the nitty-bitty of the laws, but it's safe to say that people's freedoms are being limited and restricted. It's like that they've changed the road networks. They're trying to introduce 15-minute cities at one point. So many changes are taking place that, well, I guess people are getting a bit sick and tired of it all. And
people are fed up.
Yeah, so that's generally what I believe is going on, or what I know. I could be wrong in some places, or there might be some other things that people can add in. But in terms of where these riots and what you're seeing on the screen are located, it's mostly in the Midlands, but it's spreading. There have been, and generally spreading southwards. Like the towns listed, like what was it, like Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool. They're fairly big places, but yeah, some of the like where the stabbing took place is just a dot on the map. You know, I'm not sure what the population size would be, but when I look at it, it's like, you know, I could probably drive through that place in maybe 30 minutes or something, or an hour or something like that. But that's no excuse. So it's kind of surprising it's happening in what I would call kind of like suburban areas.
Yeah.
Billy, Sir Billy.
Contriver, it's been a long time. How have you been?
London Bridge is falling down, falling down,
Yeah, yeah.
falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
I mean, in terms
So,
of London, if they block a road, it causes such a disruption because it has to like redirect traffic, which is already at a kind of standstill.
yes, so the problem which I see is uh, I have had a few verbal arguments with uh, one feminazi on Twitter. Her name is Charlotte Proudman, Dr. Charlotte Proudman,
Yeah.
and she is the one who was instrumental in opening up that very club that existed for men. I'm going, good mother. I'm merely going. I have just come for few minutes to ask some of the questions to our friend Billy the Goat and Mr. Bandit.
Hey,
So
no worries. I have to take care of something. I'll be back, okay?
okay, within 5 minutes, huh?
I'll be back.
Okay. So what I'm saying is she is the one that was instrumental in opening up uh, that very club that existed exclusively for men. I don't you know know the specific name of that very club, but that existed exclusively for men. Now that is for women as well, and she was instrumental in that. She was tweeting at something like Paris Olympics. Some Italian player was booed by the audience because he raped a girl when she was 12 years old. This, that, and the other. So I wrote it down in her comment section. Apparently, for you, every man is a potential rapist. That is what the claim of Andrea Dworkin, the intersex infamous authoress, was. So there was a furor of women attacking me just for writing it down. Take down your tweet, this, that, and the other. We are going to report your tweet, this, that, and the other. Such a furor. And perhaps all these footage would be available to people, and they would be able to see as to where they are. By the way, why are all these feminazis like that one, that runs a show where she dates men and she records it? Why these women, where are they living? Are they in the gated communities? And if they are, why there is no chaotic situation being created over there? Because as far as I know, people have been reporting the cases coming from Rotherham, Southall, Birmingham, Yorkshire, Wales, Luton, but they don't report from these very gated communities.
Well, we don't. All right. I know, like, we don't actually have gated communities. I mean, I've been to gated communities in the Philippines. So our version of a gated community, I guess, is something like the girls' night out, going to a club or going to a pub or something, or going to their girl's house, their girlfriend's house or something. So it's like next door neighbor, if they're lucky, in the street. But somehow they're communicating, and or schools in the playground maybe, or in the park. But it's one of those sort of things where if you saw them in real life just nattering away to each other, you wouldn't really take them seriously. But then somehow, when the horde gathers en masse, they actually become a bit of a problem. They get on their phones, and now they've got the power of the internet.
Yes, but I do think that just like J.K. Rowling's house is over there in a gated community somewhere. I don't know whether it is in Wales or Wembley, but she's there, and all
They're
these.
it's I guess it's spreading more. Their gated community is more like TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook. It's online stuff.
Okay, so I thought that the same case would be there in Manchester, elsewhere, but I'm not seeing the inflicted wounds of the said civilization on women per se, because that is where that is where, no, women in general, that is where actually the realization comes into the equation spontaneously. I don't see that. Why it is the
Is that
case?
in general, or are you talking in relation to this civil
Yes,
unrest?
yes, civil unrest.
Well, they're hiding behind the men who are now pissed off. So the men, the true British, bulldog, the beast is waking up, or whatever, the sleeping dragon, and the guy, which I think is a good thing. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
there are some men, some men actually having enough. Oh, here's an interesting sort
Hold
of.
on before you continue. Hello, Eric Zombro. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Eric Zombro has been ages.
I know.
Hope he's doing well. This
Me
is
too.
kind of like a fun. I don't know if it's a funny thing, but because people are being labeled as far right extremists now, there are people. Those people are embracing the shaming tactic and going, all right, fine, we're the far right then, if you want to call us that. And so you got old grannies, like, who are dotty old biddies, like that are minding their own business, just saying we're far right. You got people from different ethnicities saying, okay, we're far right, whatever, call us what you want, we're fucking pissed off and we don't like what's going on.
Mm.
So that's a kind of like I think a nice message globally, which is not to be perturbed by name calling.
I just want for men to, stave off from this very civil unrest, generally speaking, mostly. And when push comes to shove, these women would be looking over their shoulder and finding not their male counterpart for the first time. And that is what men need to do, because if they are being labeled as far right, Tommy Robinson has to take a sabbatical with his family somewhere. Uh, these people are going to come after us. They are going to keep us incarcerated, And in India as well, there has been a recent report by the Indian Supreme Court that we need to increase the number of jail cells and increase the number of prisons in India, because the current population is inadequate. They are already living in subhuman conditions, but we need to build more. That is where the prisons industrial complex would also come into the equation, because there would be some private sector parties who would be advancing the argument and championing the cause of the government. Just give me the contract of building prisons where we would keep men incarcerated as subhumans. So why do we have to subject to all this pain and humiliation and embarrassment instead of just staving off from the conflict or the civil unrest?
There's a lot to what your question there. Foremost, you got a situation now where people are raging, blood red. They're survivalistic, so they're not quite really thinking straight, and they're not. As a result, they're not really thinking of they might end up in jail. And they probably, if they do think about it, they're probably thinking like, I don't even care if I end up in jail. I'm standing up for what I believe in. We've got 3 girls that got killed, and we're losing our country. I'm fighting for, if I don't stand up, what's that saying? Like, if you don't stand up for something, you fall for anything or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a
And
principle
not
of life.
only that, there are stabbings every single day
Yeah.
in
Well,
Wembley, in Birmingham, in Yorkshire, in Southall,
yeah.
in London.
Well,
But when 3 girls are being stabbed, the entire gynocentric trad cuck alpha chad comes out of men, and they start marching towards the capital.
yeah, I mean, but the stabbings before were like little pocket knives and maybe 6-inch. It got to a point where it was like zombie knives. But now we've got machetes. Now you've got people with swords. So
I saw a little machete action. Some
Right.
people like trying to fight each other with machetes.
So it's just getting out.
Why don't you guys have guns again?
Someone brought that up actually.
Why is the population not armed exactly? Because that shit would not be happening in fucking Texas. That is for damn sure.
No, instead, well, they're not going to suddenly issue out firearms to people. So instead, what they'll do is put stricter regulations in place instead.
When did you guys give up your firearms?
When? Oh, a long time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, there are still people with firearms, but you need license, you need training, they need to be properly secured, they need to be checked. And usually, I think they're like farmers, they're not going to be in city, They're clamping down on crossbows now, because I think last year that we had some nut of a crossbow shooting people. So it's any kind of weapon, like brass knuckles, is against the law. But it gets silly because like at what point, like how anything can be a weapon.
Right.
So how do you classify and define these things?
That's what I never understood about taking away people's fucking right to bear arms. I mean, you don't see fucking fat people blaming their fork for them being fat, right? It's obviously a person with an intent issue.
Yeah, I mean, on the whole, this isn't like a defense, but it's worked fairly well for us without firearms, because when you get into a scuffle, you generally know you're not going to get shot. You might get stabbed. But in saying that, there are firearms on the streets. The gangs have firearms. You do hear gunshots going off. and now the police are more inclined to have officers with firearms. You know, just the other day I was on the stream talking about they shot the guy down the road because he was stabbing people. That was a few years ago. 10 years ago, the idea of a police officer walking around with a firearm would be unheard of. You know, it's like my kid's never seen a firearm in real life. And I remember when I went to the Philippines, the security guards are standing there with shotguns, and that was kind of like a shock to my system. Like, oh my god, like going to the bank, there's a security guard with a shotgun there to open the door for me.
Yeah.
You know, something I'm not used to.
Yeah.
So culturally, here in the UK, we're not used to seeing real firearms in real life. But I think that's kind of going off the point anyway. We're getting like, we've got civil unrest, things are getting worse.
By the way, Bandit left earlier. He said, I have to go. Nice talking with everyone.
Yeah, I need to catch up with Bandit.
Yeah, you guys do.
Okay, I'm also going.
Okay, Contriver. Thank
Okay,
you.
Mark. Bye.
Take care, Contriver. But to sort of expand on like Contriver's question or point earlier, when I said it's like it's kind of multi-layered, you could like apply some sort of MGTOW principles to the matter. It's like, hey, not my problem. I'm just gonna let them sort it out. Let the feminists or the wokists lead the rebellion then, and maybe they can cancel each other out. But the left are cowering.
Yeah.
And so the men that you might expect should really just go MGTOW and just be stoic and not do anything. At the same time, it's like, but we're going to fight for what's right, even if we don't necessarily have to do anything. You know, they're tired of seeing their country falling apart, and they're tired of seeing it being taken over. They're tired of being treated as if they're the bad guys and they're the problems.
Right.
So
Well, these men get blamed for everything, even though it's
so,
literally the feminists who are doing the things.
Yeah, and they're still being blamed, even though they're the ones defending the feminists, defending the political structure of the country.
Yep.
They're still being blamed for it.
Yes, that's why I don't get why white knight for these crazy bitches. Like they literally fucking hate you.
I don't think they're doing it like as a primary directive, like, oh, it's my duty to white knight, I'm gonna go to the battlefield and do this. It's more of a case that they're so pent up with rage themselves. They're doing what's right to make themselves feel better. It just kind of like so happens that it's white knighting at the same time. But they're not really thinking, oh, I'm going to white knight. It's just like, well, fuck it. If you want to call it white knighting, fine. You call it white knighting, but I'm going to go bloody get rid of these thugs from my community.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to carry on going down the street worried if some mob is going to attack me with machetes. I'm going to stand up with my brothers or whatnot. And
yes. Which is honorable. But once that is done, the crazy bitches responsible for that bullshit need to be sorted out too. They need to be cut off from making any more fucking decisions for the greater society because they're a bunch of incompetent, non-forward thinking crazy bitches.
Well, that would be the disappointing aftermath if, when all is said and done, depending how it goes. And then the sort of the stupid crazy bitch wife or whatever in the background is yelling from behind her hidey hole.
Mhm.
Yeah, you show them. Fuck you, go back, or whatever it is. It's like
Yeah.
like trying to rub salt in the wound or whatever,
Yeah.
and take over as if she contributed something. Like no,
No, she made the mess, and now the men have to fucking
no,
clean
but
it
she's
up.
not going to turn around and be like, "Oh, thanks for clearing up my mess."
Well,
She's going to
she
be
needs
like,
to be.
she's going to be like, "Oh yeah, my husband took care of you, and yeah, I'm still the alpha woman or whatever. He's still under my thumb. Good going, hubby." Right. She's just going to be like a mouthy bitch trying to steal some credit,
Yeah.
or like pretend that she was on the front line.
Stolen valor.
Yeah, stop like stolen valor. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, put her ass on the front line. Hello, Emmanuel. Good to see you.
But deep down, I think these guys know, like, well, I ain't gonna trust her to deal with it. I'm just gonna ignore her harpy mouth that she has, a banshee voice or whatever. That she just talks a lot of shit, and I'm just gonna go deal with it myself.
Yeah.
So the guys aren't really thinking too deep into the social game of like back and forth talking. They're trying to be a bit more proactive now.
Yeah, I posted something on Facebook. Did you see it?
No, I'm not on Facebook at the moment. I didn't look. I'll see it later.
I've been trying to, well, because I told you about my conversation yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny, the amount of
Hey, Emmanuel.
the amount of it's quite the conversation starter.
Me watching the entire world fall apart because we couldn't tell mentally ill communists to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's the that kind of far right accusation.
Well, and I had a quote unquote far right drunk ass start fucking messaging me about this.
Yeah, because
it's evil. It's not the mentally ill. Now,
well,
mind you, I've known this man since I was 4 years old. Okay, and he's only drunk because crazy bitch ruined his life, and he's still to this day white knights for these crazy bitches.
But this is the stupid thing, because it's like they're waving machetes around. Apparently, some people are speculating that these mosques are building bombs.
Right.
Because who knows what they're doing? They're having meetings. They're conspiring together to take down the whole country and things.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow they're organizing themselves to have gatherings and take over the streets. But if you say anything against what you see, now you're a racist. Now you're an Islamophobe, and you're mean and cold-hearted because they've come over to the country and just need time to assimilate into the culture, and they got PTSD and things like that. So you're an evil arsehole for being upset that they're trying to kill you.
Right.
And so, like, the police ignore and the media ignore any of their wrongdoing. They give them the benefit of doubt. They're giving them leeway, even though they're openly saying, like, "Fuck you, British people," and we're going to chase you out of the towns.
Right, because you guys don't have guns. If you had guns, they wouldn't be doing that shit.
Well, We don't have guns, so you know
We need to get
we-
you guys some guns.
we've got bricks. I'm sure people got kitchen knives or whatever. People are creative,
Yes.
but you're not even allowed to just argue your points. Even just
It's because you don't have guns.
going onto a media platform. Oh, is my internet gone again?
Uh-oh. I can hear you still.
Well, if I disappear, it's because my internet has been rubbish.
Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
But you can't even get onto a media platform and just voice your opinion. That's what, even when I started, I was like, well, I better be careful. I might say something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now somehow I'm going to be labeled the oppressor because I'm denying these people immigrating and assimilating into the culture, these productive, helpful, inspiring, whatever people.
Yeah. One of these days I need to reconnect with Gray. Because the stuff he was sending me about the border and like the feminists that were like meeting these military aged mans and having these dance parties, it looked like a feminist mating dance to me. I wonder how much of that is.
Like, I mean, I know you've got like a feminist slant to things. I don't know, because
Oh yes.
this is like Islam and centuries of war or whatever religious war that's been happening. I'm not too familiar with it, and I don't want to sound like a dick to people who are Islamists and Muslims. I've known some Muslims, I still do, who are nothing like this,
Right.
and they're nice people. So what, I don't know what it is that we're seeing. This like the radical version, the extremist version. I don't know exactly, but they're a different. How do I say it? Like a different breed that is wearing the facade of a religion or something. Because these aren't by their actions and their methodology. These aren't people who are trying to assimilate into the culture of the country they're going to or coming to.
I mean,
These aren't
what do you?
people that want to be British.
Yeah. But I do know that there is a real hatred for Western values among Middle Eastern people, because America specifically has gone to all these fucking countries and listened to the feminists here in America about how we need to liberate all these fucking women and turn them into whores, just like we have here in the US, and give them all this rights and all this indoctrination they want to pass off as education. I can understand why there's a lot of men in the Middle East that would be like, no, fuck that shit. No. Like,
I've heard at one point where they're making their applications. Oh, they're trying to fast track these applications as well, so they're not technically illegal migrants. But I'm not sure how far back this was, where they're making their application and the people that were being sent over here were soldiers seeking under the guise of seeking asylum. So when
we
the
have
men arrived,
yeah,
these weren't really legit asylum seekers.
no, these are military aged men.
Yeah.
We have them at our we have them in Texas too. Like, I've talked to somebody that works down there and it's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. A lot of these people have cell phones and Visa cards from these fucking feminist organizations.
Yeah.
It's like these feminists are literally their sugar mamas. and they're just coming up here from all over the world, not just Mexicans. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's something with these feminists and these men. It's almost like they've destroyed the men in our countries and totally welcome these people. I don't know if it's because they see them as a conquest. I know you brought that up before, remember? How like if it's a smaller group, they could try to convert them, you know? I don't know if these crazy bitches see them as a conquest, but it's not going to work out the way they think it's going to.
Well, what's the end goal plan? You know, it's like is the idea to destroy the country and then what, go back home to theirs, or to stay here? Because if they want to be barbaric and destroy it, they're gonna have a bit of a problem. It's like the codependency type of deal, where it's like if you're trying to take over the place and destroy everyone and get rid of or imprison the people that made it possible, that built the towns and things like that. I don't know what the end goal is. It's same with like the political like lens of looking at it. It's like you want to secure the votes, you want to have power, you want to have a draconian society, enslave people, control people, take all their freedoms, and then what? You know, you want. There has to come up sort of it's like self-defeating point where it's like unsustainable.
Yeah.
Or is that the point? It's sort of crash and burn just to live it up large while you can.
I don't think the people making those decisions, all these women that have been put into positions that have no fucking business being in, they don't think that far out. They don't think that big. They're thinking about their feelings. They get a little emotional terrorism or a little heartstring pull of like, oh, we got to save the women and children that are coming over, and that's all they hear. They're like, oh yeah, open up the borders. Like let's give some money to get them over here. Like they don't understand that it's actually financially cheaper to help people out in their own fucking countries.
Yeah, but they had a taste of this like a couple of years ago when that war was kicking off in Ukraine, and they were sending the women and children out of the place. We opened our borders to bring them in, and loads of people had Ukrainian asylum seekers in their homes and then regretted it because they couldn't get rid of them.
Wow.
Because it's meant to be like a term or a contract or whatever, like you're here for a year or something. But it's kind of like buyer's remorse. And, you know.
Did any of these crazy bitches in charge have anybody in their home specifically? Or was it just other people?
Wow. It was kind of like if your home has the space to accommodate an additional asylum seeker, would you be willing? And there was like an incentive to do this, so you can get some money or some sort of sponsorship if you house a refugee. But you know, when I hear the accounts of people who have done this, I don't think I've ever heard any of them which were a positive account. There's always kind of like, oh man,
those are fellow Westerners, right?
Not sure what kind of homes they were occupying. Presumably Westerners. They might have been. I mean, we've got a lot of different nationalities.
Well, I'm glad most people are not getting triggered by my stuff on Facebook. You know, it's strange. People will publicly like show support for whatever I type or whatever. Some people will share my stuff. And a lot of people will text me and be like, "Oh, I really love that. I really want to share that." But my friends won't like it. I've only gotten one person today that fucking spurged out and one person yesterday. And that's been it. Crazily. 2 people I've known for a very, very long time that are now super crazy bitch indoctrinated. Billy?
In maybe a couple of months' time, I would like to do a sociological analysis or speculation of the psychological phenomena taking, because I have some theories of what to expect going forward in terms of sociologically the mindset of people, the group thing.
Yes. Well, some correlations I've seen just with people that I know personally. I can safely say any woman that's had an abortion is very highly susceptible to crazy bitch infection. So even that one client I was telling you guys about that literally retired, had 6 kids, whatever. During the lockdown, she first freaked out. She must have asked me 4 times before she came back again if I was going to get a vaccine. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And so it was after the period of time where, okay, masks are dying down again. She had all her vaccines, all her boosters. And then the hysteria in the media revved up again that, oh my God, the anti-vaxxers are killing children. So when she showed up for a hair appointment, she had on a mask again. And I was like, what's the deal with the mask again? And she just started venting and being frantic and, talking about the anti-vaxxers and how they're killing people and how she's pissed off at one of her sons because he won't vaccinate her 6-year-old granddaughter, and just going off on a fucking tangent. And I was like, what does it matter if somebody doesn't get the vaccine and they die? Who cares, And she's like, oh no, I hope everybody who doesn't get the vaccine dies. Like, looked me right in the face. And I was like, well, that would fucking suck, because then you'd have to find a new hairstylist. And she like snapped out of it, but I found out her last hair appointment that she was married before that husband and children, and she had an abortion because she chose her career over a child.
Yeah, and so that just goes to show that the formative years, or your past and your track record, is going to play a part in the coming future. You're going to be more, if you've got a rocky history, and your formative years are crazy.
The call I got yesterday, she brought up abortion like 4 fucking times, and white men's right shouldn't have the right, and this and that, and some women need to have abortions because of XYZ, and she was like hammering on abortions. I was like, it just sounded very much like I had an abortion and I want other people to suffer that fucking consequence too. Like,
maybe, probably.
These people are fucking ruined, Billy.
Yeah, and the trajectory isn't going to look any better. It's not like they're going to wake up and have an epiphany and snap out of it and go, oh, such a dummy before. Even if they do, they're like starting off back at square one again, and with a handicap of having to undo the damage. And how many more years have they got left in their life to do that? So if they were to do that, you can kind of say, all right, kudos, well done, it's better late than never sort of thing, good luck to you. But in terms of probability, they're more likely to become more unstable, more
Mm-hmm.
delusional, more infected, festering, putrid,
Yeah.
vile,
I mean, she
more
called me.
hysterical.
She had to call me while she had a hair appointment, her color processing, just
Yeah.
to. And this is somebody that, you know, I had a lot of respect for and taught me a lot in my industry. And maybe that's why she felt that she should call me and set me straight, because I was like, no.
Well, not really set you straight, more like call you to help have you reassure her.
I
Because
didn't
clearly,
reassure a damn
if she's
thing.
calling you in the middle of a hair appointment, she's
Yeah.
having an outburst.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
It
know,
was
her
quite the
emotions are out of
outburst.
control.
Yes.
She's stressed out. She's neurotic. She's all sorts of things. A lack of self control. I already said self control, I think.
Yeah.
And she just went ahead and did it without really any critical thinking or whatever.
Yeah.
With the expectation that you'll be on hand there and then to make her feel better, to rub her boo boos and say, it's all right, it's okay, you're a crazy bitch, it's okay.
Well,
You know?
I kind of rubbed it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really trigger her. And when I spoke, she shut the fuck up and listened. So she just kept saying, you people like you. And I was like, no. Like because I put the feminist cult in one of my things. I was like, no, my primary focus is on these radical lesbian feminist cult members that have been indoctrinating, you know, these young girls in the universities into their sex cult. And she's like, oh, well, my daughter came out as a lesbian last year, and I was so proud of her. And I was like, okay, well, I'm talking about these old ass professor cat lady lesbians, like that are in their 70s. Like those are my primary targets. They're literally, they've been doing this shit their whole fucking life. And she's like, yeah, but you can't say blah, blah, because my daughter. I'm like, knock it off with this taking this shit personal shit. Like, I don't care about your daughter. My focus is exactly where I said it was. Quit taking this shit personally.
Yeah, but you're the two of you are on different planets.
Yeah, I know.
So you say
It's
don't
the
take it
what about
personally.
the minority thing? Like, yeah.
You've got an expectation that she's going to be able to let go of taking it personally, and she can't because that's her.
Because she's happy her daughter's a lesbian and she doesn't want grandbabies because she fucking hates kids. She said that to me.
Yeah, so
which is weird because I don't remember her hating kids. Every time I ever saw her around kids, she loves kids. But all of a sudden she hates kids? Since when?
Since she had her daughter. I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
But
it's weird though. She's infected. Like,
yeah,
this is a big problem.
And it's, you know, if you're saying that this is a difference to what you know of her from the past, you can see how
big time
she's declined. She's gotten worse.
Yes, she has. She definitely has.
So she's going to become more like schizoid, I think. Start hallucinating, imagining things. More delusional, more psychosis, more detached from reality. And that's going to impair her judgment. Now she's got an even more distorted view of the world, more disorientated, more confused, more of a believer now. More like you have to be more inclined to magical thinking because you can't trust objective reality or the scientific model at all. Now you're believing in flat Earth. Now you're believing in aliens. Now you're believing in whatever, the Illuminati or something.
It just
and it
makes
all
me
makes sense.
So happy, and just reinforces my being happy I moved the fuck out of Washington State. Because all that shit, all this week's shit is coming from that.
Well, that's what you're going to end up. That's what you and a lot of people are going to end up having to do, which is to go no contact and distance, detach and reduce exposure, because there's nothing you can't.
I know.
You can't be in that vicinity. But this is why she was saying, and so people like you.
Oh yeah, people like me with my
once
data and
again,
my statistics, and I was like, oh, people like me that don't care about the minority, like I concentrate on the majority of statistics, like yeah, that's why I can't debate people
yeah,
like
but
you.
she's like, try
I'm
to
like,
imagine.
what do you mean? She
I
sees me as them.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. Like getting like,
yeah,
I know it's sort of like try to imagine being in her shoes, but you're just trying to imagine you're in someone who's crazy. But play along, pretend you were crazy, and you're now into magical thinking and hocus pocus, black arts and conspiracies and all sorts of whatever, and it's all some big plot, and they're all against you, and they're coming to get you, persecute
it's not.
you. You're a
No,
victim,
it's
so no
not
wonder everyone
quite.
else is them.
It's not quite that. I just know the
Not yet.
vast. Not yet, maybe. The vast clientele that she has, because she did say, yeah, like, I have these she calls them little old ladies. I have these super Christian little old ladies that say the same thing you talk about, and this and that, but then she brings up a client that's trans, and then she brings up a client because she starts talking about the Israel-Palestine shit. And I was like, I don't care about that. Like, my focus is, she's like, well, I care about it because I have some Jewish clients. Like, she's an accumulation of the vast number of clients, the different types of clients she has. So she has an emotional attachment to all these different people. So she takes on all the different people's thing.
Yeah. You're pointing out, see, that's an interesting point you're making there.
Yes.
Because what you're, without saying it, is she lacks a sense of self. Her sense of self derives externally.
Yes.
So what happens outside of her matters. Even if you might think, what the fuck has Palestine got to do with you? It matters to her because her sense of identity is outside of her.
Yes.
So this ends up causing people like that to go even more bonkers because they're not too sure what is important or significant that will contribute to their identity. So they're trying to scan every bit of news source and information of what's going on around the world. They're going to call this awareness.
Yes.
But
Oh yeah.
but they're trying to cobble together. It's like a Frankenstein monster of an identity.
It is. Yes.
They got a bit of wokeism, they got a bit of social justiceism, they got a bit of feminism, they got a bit of Palestinian stuff, they got a bit of whatever, save the planet, they got a bit of love and light, they're a bit of everything, and they can't discriminate what's irrelevant or what doesn't, what they don't really identify with.
Right.
And so she's adopting all these things, like I'm a lesbian, I'm a trans, I'm pansexual, I'm bisexual, I'm everything.
She's not a lesbian. Her daughter is one, though.
Yeah, but she could kind of like claim credit for that. It's like, well,
she's gonna get she's gonna get a T-shirt that's all praising the lesbos.
Right, she's in the lesbian club because she's got a daughter that's in the club, kind of thing. Well, I save dogs, I save kittens, I save ants, I save cockroaches, and all the rest of it. It's like, is there anything you don't do? And that's when they make blunders and be like, I support MAPS, like the minor attracted person. And it's like, what the hell are you supporting that for? Well, I support suicide or something. It's like, what the hell? Euthanasia. It's like, do you even know what you're talking about or realize what you're saying? And they don't really believe in any of this stuff. They don't know what to believe. They can't make sense of any of it. And it's all, the problem is because they don't have a sense of their own sense of self internally, like a base of operations to work from. They're kind of psychologically homeless inside their own head. They don't belong anywhere.
Yeah. Well, she's an alcoholic. She lives a very hedonistic lifestyle.
Right, alcohol, so yeah,
Yeah.
coping, addiction makes it all worse, blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah.
Mm. Yeah. I kind of thought it was funny. I thought about that conversation for a long time because within 25 minutes it went so many ways. Like she just had to purge the demons out of her or something. I don't know. We did talk about cults though. That was fun.
Yeah, I suspect she wasn't really talking with you, more of a case of she was looking for affirmations and validations and was like selective hearing and that kind of reassurance, cross-referencing.
I don't know. We'll see, because she was telling me about this fat girl conference she's going to in Vegas, and we'd already been talking about cults. And she's like, I was like, what, a fat girl conference? She's like, yeah, it's probably another cult, but I'm going. Like, like she has awareness. She really does. I think she just needed a purge, and maybe found a safe space within me to purge some of those demons. That's what I'm going with. I mean, I've known this woman for almost 20 years, so if anyone can exorcise those demons, it'll probably be me.
So what you're kind of saying, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if she's calling you to purge and to put her at ease, but
Maybe.
she has the awareness, but she's still going to go to it anyway, then she's calling you in order for you to enable and facilitate her quackery.
Wait, going to the fat girl conference?
Not maybe that, but there's just a general kind of mindset of what do you call it? Her ethos, her set of personal beliefs, her worldview. All these crazy people, you'll notice that they do need someone that has some level of stability. Otherwise, they're off on the deep end completely. They're in an asylum at that point. There's nothing stopping them. Which kind of means if she's calling you and you're thinking like, oh, we're colleagues, we're friends or something like that, it's probably got more of a functionality behind it. Somehow you are providing a service by interacting with someone like that. I don't mean to take that away from whatever relationship you have with her.
I haven't talked to her in a couple of years, so.
You haven't talked to her in a couple of years. This is the first time in a couple of years. No, like, hey, how are you? How's things? Or like.
Yeah, she calls me because I post something, and her first words out of her mouth were, "Damn, I thought you were cool. What the fuck's up with your Facebook posts?"
Right, and in the middle of a hair appointment. As well.
Yeah.
So obviously this isn't like a catch up for old time's sake. Hey, I've been thinking about you. I was, this is.
Yeah. No, it was funny. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if she calls me back. I'm gonna keep posting. So she was like, because she said, "Yeah, I saw the first one," and I was like, "Not gonna go there." And she's like, "In the second one," she's like, "No, I'm not gonna do it." And then the third one, she's like, "Okay, I gotta call her." Yeah. So we'll see. I think it's pretty insane, though.
Yeah.
How crazy bitches be getting.
Yeah. Well, and that's something I want to kind of cover in a couple of months' time, maybe sooner, because that's generally what I imagine will take place. is more erratic, frantic, desperate, more delusional, extreme types of behavior. Not just with women, but with people in general. These are crazy times we're living in.
Yeah.
So I suppose I'll get going now. It's
Okay.
getting later and later for me.
All right, Billy. Thank you for the chat.
Yeah, I wasn't expected it to jump on, so yeah. Yeah. I was gonna make a stupid joke. Shall I make
About
a stupid joke?
Yeah.
No. No, I was gonna say something like in relation to the riots in the UK. Like, if you don't hear from me,
Oh yeah.
maybe I'm on the front line or something. But nah.
Nah, you wouldn't participate?
Well, I've got a little one to think about, you know. So
Yeah.
no. But if push came to shove, then the horns are coming out, you know.
Yeah.
Gonna be like the rampant goat, go ballistic on people.
Make illegal immigration costly and risky. That will stave the influx. Basic economics, basic incentive structure. Yeah. All right, Billy. Thank you.
Have a good night. Thanks.
You too.
Catch you guys later in the chat. Everyone behave. See you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, the basic incentive structure. So, funny story. I went and checked out a business where it's woman owned and the incentive structure is all wrong. The manager was a crazy bitch, which I don't think a lot of people realize when they hire these bullring, in the nose wearing crazy bitches as managers, how much that'll destroy your business. But it does. This one specifically, I was interviewing with this manager. And after she'd asked me a couple questions, and the third fucking time she cut me off to talk about herself, I decided to just let her, because obviously she wanted to talk about herself. So she spent a good hour sharing all kinds of crazy shit with me. And then I talked to the owner for a good hour, and she shared all kinds of crazy shit with me. Long story short, she worked in corporate, didn't like how things were done, I guess, to let go women, and a lot of women lost their jobs, and so she opened this business, and now she's a work mommy. And I almost felt sorry for her because I see her business going down the drain. I see how stressed she is. She has a 1-year-old child that she's not spending enough time with because she's too busy taking care of a bunch of fucking adult children. But at the same time, she is damned if she's not going to sacrifice time with her child, possibly her marriage, and time she just won't ever get back. A lot of money, because it takes a lot of money to, feed all of these freeloaders. Does do that. She is willing to sacrifice all that just to prove a point. I'm not sure, but couldn't really tell her anything that she didn't already know. but her ego was getting in the way of her following through. So, is that the one you sent earlier, JR? It was like 5 hours. Let me see. Yeah, I'm just honestly, JR, I love Andrew. I love what Andrew's doing. I'm not interested in listening to him try to debate horse. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's not quite my lane. So that's why Beef Curtains Beth got kicked off of here so quickly. It's just not interesting to me. Well, good. I appreciate it. Yeah, it worked in corporate. Yeah, she was so, how did she put it? She was so disappointed in how a lot of companies treated women that she wanted to open up a business and prove that you can provide all these things and still be successful. Her business is failing, both of them. And she's trying to open a third location. So it's not going to work. Pride and ego are the nitro and glycerin of crazy women. It's completely out of balance. Yeah. I think it's the nitro and glycerin of people, though, Rusty. See a lot of men have their pride and ego in the fucking way as well. So I think it's just a human sinning problem. Isn't that a sin? Pride. But yeah. There's something else. Oh, yes. One more thing. Which one was it? Okay, you guys. This is probably my favorite one of Richard Grannon's videos yet. Because it's so fucking spot on. You guys need to watch it. Do you guys even watch these when I share them with you? By the way, I do have to play it and make you watch it while I have your eyeballs. This is wonderful. There was this one part, though, that I was like, something we need. Maybe you can add it to his list of courses or something.
Lots of Rumpelstiltskins.
Lots of everybody's like Rumpelstiltskin for the love of God. I'll do it off the big screen.
Yeah.
I'll
scroll back up to where there were questions.
Thank you. It was very good of you, Jacob.
Make sure no one gets missed.
Do you like this format, folks? I feel like a newscaster. Look, there's me book. A Cult of One is over here. You can get you can get this from Jeff Bezos' slave house today. Let's make Jeff richer. Poor old Jeffers, eh?
Do you want me to pick any that are like personal situation questions or more explaining things further questions?
I'll try anything. Let's enter the realm of chaos and see what comes forth.
Okay. Any tips to recover from 10 years of abuse? Came to know a few months back I was going through narcissistic abuse for over 11 years. Any tips, please?
That right there. There needs to be something that how to get over 10 years of abuse. I just came to know a couple months back that it's narcissistic abuse that I'm suffering. There needs to be a filtering out. Like who said it was that? Because right now we have a lot of fucking feminists pathologizing masculinity. So a lot of these women who are single, mind you, will get in the ears of these other women and try to break up their fucking marriage. And they'll put all kinds of terrible ideas in their fucking head. So who told them it was narcissistic abuse would be my question. Because that's a big deal. Psychology field calling masculinity narcissism. That's a big deal. So I know it's probably not easy to handle on a live, but maybe there can be a course, maybe? Make a course to weed some of that shit out. Because if you keep reinforcing this, thing that probability-wise is probably not narcissistic abuse, like really, you're just going to perpetuate a fear problem. So there needs to be something for that. Other than that, this was fucking brilliant. I loved it. And the Richard Grannon Philosophy Channel. If you guys missed it, that is where all the good conversations are going to be happening, I think, from now on. So this chat with Professor Dutton was quite good. And this Charlie guy, I haven't seen him before but I like him. He's a smart dude too. So, you guys sub to this channel? Where's my video about this mom? I want to talk to this rad mom. Where is it? Shit. Rad mom. Yeah, this lady.
Because they were going to assemble all Latin for. We're about to get another ad, but they're like political theory. Yeah. Okay. So I just woke up to that feminism wasn't a joke a couple years ago, says CTKD. And I don't really get it. Looking for moms to talk about it. Would you be interested in a discussion? Heck yeah. That sounds right up my alley. I have like a whole library of nonfiction books in my basement.
See, she said it's right up her alley. She gave me her email address. I emailed her with a link to me and Cluster B Milkshake's conversation. And I haven't heard back from her. So, pulling feminism back to the real world because we desperately need it. So, hopefully, she writes back. Hopefully, she isn't a fucking coward. I mean, she claims to be a feminist and a mom. And I want her to tell me exactly why Mothers of sons need feminism the most. So that's a little fucking shady to me. Watching our allies debating 304 is not productive nor interesting for me. It's like watching heavyweights fight featherweights. I want a slugfest. They're best. See, yes, me too. Like I love Andrew and I love what he does. But same with Fresh and Fit. Like, I mean, I do appreciate the platform and how many of these crazy bitches they get on each show. I mean, I see those as data points. I know Fresh and Fit were asking their girls like, oh, what's your degree in? You know how many fucking psychology degree holding whores that they had on the panel, like night after night after night. Like when they were telling me that gender studies or something department at a university was watching their channel, I was like, good, maybe they can collect some real fucking data. That'd be nice. I mean, if they're going to have confessions on the panel, I would be interested in that. Not like, that's why I loved Kevin Samuels, his stuff so much. It was one-on-one, and he was so good at getting these confessions out of these women. Like, he was the best at that. He would get them to speak so much fucking truth. That's what I'm super interested in, the confessions. So, Rad Mom, let's have that chat. I'll tag you in this because I want to chat. Hopefully, you have the guts to do it. You can refrain from taking bong hits, though, when you join my conversation. I would appreciate it. I want you at your best. So, coffee's fine. Bong hits, not so much. Yes, they are. All right, y'all. Have a good night. JR, good to see you. Rusty, good to see you. Freebird. So daddy issues. Yeah. Easy. Glad Easy popped up. I hope Outlaw and Bandit get connected. That'd be a good stream. All right, y'all. I might stream tomorrow. If I hear back from Rad Mom.